Canada's competition watchdog has launched a probe into two grocery giants. In documents viewed by the Canadian press, the commissioner is looking into Loblaws and Empire. It's to decide if they are blocking competition by other food retailers, something that limits choice and can keep food prices high. Jeannie Lee is looking into this for us. So what exactly is the Competition Bureau looking into?
Well, Natasha, it will be poring over a ton of documents by the looks of it, because there is going to be a lot to consider if the Competition Bureau is going to be able to prove that there's any kind of anti-competitive behavior going on. And here's what we mean. If you look at the federal court website, it shows the steps taken so far. There is the initial application of the Commissioner of Competition versus Empire Company and versus George Weston, which is parent company of Loblaws. Now, each of them have exhibits A to M, that's a lot of exhibits, filed on May 6th, and obviously more will be to come. Each dossier has 6 documents so far. No court date, though. So we know these two food giants by more familiar names like Sobeys and No Frills and Freshco and, of course, Loblaws. These two giants own many various banners and multiple grocery stores under each of those banners. So that means a lot of leases, and they are such big tenants that there's a question of whether they hold a lot of power in being able to build in terms and conditions that will dictate who can set up shop near them and what kind of businesses that those can be. And so this apparently, according to the Consumer or Competition Bureau, sets up conditions which might actually cut the choice that consumers have. And when we have less choice, our prices tend to be higher, plus we have less choice, which is not good for consumers, obviously.
Jeannie, how does the Bureau go about deciding what's normal capitalist competition versus downright anti-competitiveness?
That is an excellent question, because obviously you do need some protections as a business in some cases if you're going to even set up as a business. And so there are a lot of arguments here about how much we can expect companies to have in the way of restrictive covenants. So let's take a look at some of those. Those restrictive covenants, or just controls on property, dictate who can lease property. For example, I tried to buy an ice cream cone the other day. I had to walk a long way around the neighborhood to find an ice cream store. And maybe, I'm not saying that that's the case, but basically you don't want too many businesses right up against each other, because then who can survive would be the argument. There is a common practice to have these property controls to justify companies actually making the investments, opening the stores, and even expand. If you wouldn't do that if you had too much competition. And again, if overly controlling, though, you have the ability to block rivals from expanding, that's not good for competitors and for consumers. So there are the two sides of the arguments. We'll be watching to see exactly how this shakes down.
Okay, thanks, Jeannie.
You're welcome.